Yeah, no, what I was basically just saying is I don't get how, like, this idea that you feel inflammation, you feel whatever, like, what is that based on? Do we know that's the case? Because we can actually go the other way. We can say, were these people supplementing B12? Maybe they weren't. Maybe that's where the mess up came from and why they're not feeling great. Like, to claim that it's something inherent to the plant-based diet, well, that just, like, it doesn't follow. There's no real evidence to back that up.
Okay. I mean, two things, I guess. So when you say there's no evidence, that again says that we just don't know, right? And I mean, whenever we're talking about changing our diet, something we don't know. That's what we should know before, right?
No. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean at all. What I'm saying is when we look at any data, like it doesn't matter where you get it from. I haven't seen anything to the contrary. You look at vegan diets and inflammation, there are improvements. I just can't see anything different. Unless maybe if you're looking at the unhealthy plant-based diet index, maybe you can see worsening outcomes there, but that's about it.
Yeah, and there's actually publications that look at that. There's adherence to plant-based diet, and then adherence to unhealthy plant-based diet, and adherence to healthy plant-based diet. And you can clearly see, obviously, when you favor unhealthy, it trends in a bad direction, but it almost universally trends upwards.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I already said, so you have to account for why they adhered, right? So if they felt very unhealthy, of course they would adhere.
I don't get how that changes.
I mean, say for this hypothetically, you're on vegan diet and you feel absolutely great, amazing energy, no disease, and you live to like 120, right? So that would be awesome for you.
Can I just say one thing? They don't adhere because they feel healthy. They adhere because it's part of their religious practice in terms of the Seventh-day Adventists. And when we're talking about outcomes in death. We're not talking about feeling better. We're talking about if these people are dying or dying less. And when you look at something like cholesterol, which I showed you earlier, it's not going to be that some people aren't going to have any impact from red meat on their cholesterol level. And I proved that quantitatively in those experiments. So it's not like some people are just going to not have any increase in cholesterol, which is going to cause heart disease outcomes. It's going to be that the longer they adhere, the better those outcomes will be. And they adhere because of their religious practice most of the time, not because they feel better. It's not some anecdotal thing of they feel better.
Yeah, and on that note, the cholesterol relationship, there are very, very clear publications on large amounts of data showing that the longer the reduction is sustained and the earlier in life it began, is the higher an impact it has on cardiovascular outcomes. So that tracks with longer adherence, better outcomes.
But how does that account for, again, if someone gets sicker and sicker, let's say if you couldn't...
You have to substantiate that. Look at the numbers and tell me there's a significant amount of people that dropped out from baseline. Otherwise, it's just a whack theory.
Oh, okay, wait, hold on. But are we talking about isn't people who drop out from baseline, wouldn't they just put them into the vegetarian category if they say ate eggs?
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Baseline.
I'm saying that he's asking if they put the people who were going to drop out just into the meat eater category, which that doesn't follow either.
Oh, so they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't record them as meat eaters if they eat meat. Like, what are you saying?
I'm not sure what you're getting at, so I don't know.
Okay, so all I'm saying is some of those people might have been doing worse on vegan. And if they stop eating vegetables, or like only vegetables, they add eggs or whatever, then they would be recorded as vegetarian. And then they would have worse health outcomes. They would not live as long as the vegans because they were the ones who were getting less healthy.
No.
So you're saying that there's like irreversible damage that's done if they try it temporarily and it doesn't work for them?
Yes, and then that might have lowered their lifespan.
Again, do you have any kind of data to support this irreversible damage that's done when avoiding animal products?
I mean, how are you going to get a study for that, right?
Like, you would see these sorts of outcomes in like meat abstainers, for example. You would see that in some kind of publication somewhere.
Well, all you can do is look at thousands of anecdotes. I mean, and there are thousands of anecdotes.
No.
But there are, oh my God, there are just as many anecdotes of people who start eating meat again and run into issues. Like, I mean,
Wait, what are you talking about? I stopped there for a second. Anecdotes? That's all I heard.
He's saying that there are thousands of anecdotes of essentially ex-vegans, like people who were eating animal products, ruined their health, and then went the other way.
Yeah, I mean, almost the entire carnivore subreddit, for example, a lot of them started out as vegan, right? And then they felt so awful. I mean, you could say that they all did it wrong.
Not necessarily.
Okay, do you want to name a couple high-profile ones? I actually know a lot of them personally, and I'll tell you exactly what they were eating prior.
What do you mean, like name them? Like, are you talking about YouTubers?
Yeah, any of the high-profile ones. I'll tell you what their diet was like prior, and what their kind of medical or their thoughts on medicine were.
Okay. I don't actually watch influencers, so I would have to look them up now. But I mean, what I was looking at are people who are just interviewed, for example, like on Dr. Sean Baker's show, a couple other carnivores, people who are just interviewed who are vegan, stopped being vegan, and then they finally fixed their health after years of, desperately trying to figure out what was wrong.
Yeah, so you're assuming, what you're doing, you're assuming that when they were vegan, they were doing so healthfully, right? And I'm telling you, based on some of the most high-profile people who have gone that way, I know them personally, or I knew them personally, and I know that they were not quite doing a healthy, balanced, plant-based diet with, your B12 or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
The majority of the high-profile ones, even whether you know them or not, I mean, it's kind of like common knowledge about how they were like some raw fruitarian or some insane water fasting.
Well, yeah, and avoiding medical care, and it goes on and on and on. Oh, Blair White. So that's actually one that I don't know. I don't know who she is.
Okay, I don't really know her either. I just looked at one. I'm gonna have to see what if she says what she ate as a vegan. Apparently, she was vegan for 10 years. So unless she was lying, which I admit influencers can definitely lie, but
yeah, that's unfortunate.
So many people. And
why are we trusting anecdotes?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's also anecdotes of carnivores, like their hair falling out and they're getting cholesterol in the 400, 500 range. I mean, I go to those carnivore Reddits and I've never seen one where their cholesterol is not jacked
A
up.
lot of constipation over there.
And it's just, you don't need to be.
I'm not advocating for carnivore, just to be clear. I'm just saying that these people happen to be a lot of people on this. That's the reason why I brought it up was because a lot of them were vegan, and that's you're never going to get these people in a study, right?
Yeah, but I want to make clear that what we're arguing for isn't just a vegan diet. It's a relatively balanced, healthful, plant-based diet. We aren't talking about people who go to these extremes like Saab was saying, fruitarian, whatever. We're talking about someone who eats whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, something like that. So if you're pulling these anecdotes saying that it didn't work for them, well, you have to show us what were they eating, right? Were they eating a healthful diet? Were they supplementing properly? We have to trust their word for it, like you just said. And again, going back to what V said, this is an anecdote. It's just anecdotes.
Okay, so if you look at these dentists, and you look at the sample at baseline and you look at the number of people and the event rates for the different groups, nothing changes. The numbers remain the same. So you're like a bunch of people ditched out is kind of invalidated.
Does it say anywhere that people who started started as vegetarians stayed vegetarian the whole time? People who started as vegan stayed vegan the whole time. People who are not.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of their analysis, to analyze the people.
Okay. I'm looking it up again.
Also, why are you criticizing like evidence that is incredibly rigorous when you're bringing up anecdotal evidence? I mean, how do you control for confounds with anecdotal evidence?
I'm not saying anecdotal evidence are better than
And why are you bringing it up?
studies. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'm saying there are problems that we don't understand yet, we haven't accounted for, and we need to account for them before we
You
encourage
can
them.
literally say that for the diet that people are on currently. Like, you can go fringe wherever you want. You could say, oh, we haven't looked at this specific outcome. Oh, we don't know. What if there's this food with this specific component that would extend people's lifespan? Like, this leads you down a path of, like, speculating to insanity.
But at least it's proven that people have been on it for like millions of years,
How
right?
proven? And, like, how, like, our outcome's good? No? Like,
Wait. People have not been on our diet for millions of years, or like the general diet. Let's just clear that up.
Yeah, that,
Well, not everybody, obviously, but meat incorporation has been around forever. I mean, anthropologists say that people only started to differentiate from like a monkey level of intelligence once we started eating bone marrow, right?
bone.
Sure, but that's evolution over years and decades and centuries. It's not relevant to our goals today.
We're jumping all around too to different
Yeah.
topics.
This is kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
I mean, what I'm saying was,
Wait a second. How do you control for confounds with anecdotal evidence? How do you do that?
you can't. I'm just saying that these anecdotes.
Then why
at least-
are you using it as a criticism for the data that we're showing of like health outcomes?
Because these conclusions are that veganism is healthy for everyone of all ages. And I see people who are
based
clearly
on
not
evidence.
healthy on
10% of the people I see in a day are clearly unhealthy. Like, that break.
So again, how do you control confounds with anecdotal evidence? If you've seen it, then you shouldn't be using it as a criticism. Insane. It's like you saying gravity exists, and I say, well, no, if I throw a balloon with helium for anything, try that in a vacuum and see what happens.
gravity works, right?
Yeah, but
But the moment you ever find something that contradicts gravity, then you have to say, well, scrap gravity then, because
wait a
there
second.
can't be.
Can you give this guy sorry, go ahead, dude. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was it. So, just as with gravity, there's no exceptions. For something that we've eaten for millions of years, maybe I wouldn't say there has to be no exceptions at all. Like if someone has a 0.0001% chance of only being able to eat meat, whatever, maybe you can just say, yeah, 99% of people can eat vegan. But I don't think we've proven that 99% of people can eat vegan.
I don't know what the differentiating factor that you're pointing to that we haven't demonstrated.
Well, we need to be able to at least address any of these cases, and if they go to a doctor, they should be able to resolve it in a vegan way instead of.
They should, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's not the case. How many of the times?
Wait, can we switch to
Some doctors
can
will
we-
be like, "Oh, eat meat." That's the end of it. Like, that's not an answer. You're not addressing a cause